Good morning, my people, my people, my people, my people, my people. My name is Alan Palmer, Chief Strongblood, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son, the diaspora machismo. My people, today I'm going to ask the question: what is wrong with the ministries and the official that runs those ministries in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? This is the question I have to ask today. What is wrong with the ministries and the officials that run these ministries in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? My people, this is why I asked this question. A month ago or so ago, Montgomery Daniel came on radio and on TV, and he told the police to confiscate the minibus of those minibus operators who were in an agreement with the Ministry of Education to provide transportation for school children. If they are seen using their minibus on the weekend, that the police must confiscate such vehicles. People, something is wrong with the politicians in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Something is wrong with the head of mission in the ministries of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. People, the police went out and they confiscated vehicles that were in agreement with the Ministry of Education that were used to transport school children. This is absolutely wrong. Why it is wrong? First thing, Montgomery Daniel do not have the authority to go on radio and TV and give instruction to the police to do anything. If he wants the police to carry out an operation, the first thing he must do is he must officially inform the Commissioner of Police in writing. These things must be documented. And the next thing that is wrong is that the police does not have the authority to act unless a member of the citizenry broke the law. The police does not have the authority to act unless they have a warrant that was signed by the appropriate authority, whether a magistrate, a justice of the peace, the register, or some other appropriate authority. So when the police went out there and confiscated the vehicles of these that were being operated by these minibus drivers, they were in the wrong. They violated the law. They went outside the scope of their authority and their duties. Let me tell you something, people. That is why there is a civil court system in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. If the minibus operators are in violation of an agreement between the Ministry of Education and themselves, the police has nothing to do with it. Police don't get involved in civil agreements. The police does not get involved. They have no authority to get involved in civil agreements. So when Montgomery Daniel go on radio and television and request that the police confiscate those vehicles, and the Commissioner of Police, who should know better because he's a lawyer, he's a practicing police officer, would allow his men to go out there and violate the rights of citizens by getting involved in a civil matter that is an agreement between the Ministry of Education and these civilians. They are violating the civilians' rights. Anytime the police act, anytime the police take any action, there must be a violation of the laws of the state, meaning an infraction, a petty offense, a misdemeanor, a felony, or some court, whether the high court or the magistrate court, a justice of the peace or the registrar sign a warrant and instruct a law enforcement authority to act based on the information on that warrant. Otherwise, the police does not have any authority to go out there and confiscate people's vehicle. None whatsoever. And the thing that is painful. Like I had a lady that commented on my video yesterday. She said, don't blame the opposition. Don't blame the opposition. But the opposition must be blamed. Because if Dr. Friday is a lawyer, I believe I'm not sure, I believe he have a PhD in law. Israel Bruce, who's being paid as a senator in the House of Parliament, he didn't win a seat, but he's paid as a senator. Every month he collect a big fat check. We have K, but I will give K a pass because K have been actively involved in pro bono work on behalf of the citizenry. She cannot be there to do everything. These are people who are lawyers. When Montgomery Daniel made that statement on national radio and television, they had an obligation to the citizenry to come forward and to let them know that the police does not have the authority to take away your vehicle. So when they say St. Vincent, Ralph run St. Vincent, it's because the opposition is not playing their role. The opposition is not keeping the government and the politician and the bureaucrats accountable because they let everything slide. They let everything slide. They are being paid every month to ensure that the people are taken care of, that they are represented. You understand? So why then is Israel Bruce come on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or go to the media and let them know that the police does not have any authority to confiscate these vehicles because it is a civil agreement between the Ministry of Education and private individual? There is a procedure when a contract is being broken or when a contract is broken. There's a procedure in dealing with these things. You don't arbitrarily use resources because it is there and because you have a little political power. You can't do that. So when these people had their rights violated, Dr. Friday, who is a PhD, a lawyer, practicing lawyer, Israel Bruce, who is a practicing lawyer, who is being paid by these same people who had their rights violated because they are there because of them. They are there to represent them. Didn't do anything. They didn't say anything. But these people's rights were violated. Their vehicle were confiscated. They were put in a compromising position, embarrassing public, and they didn't do anything. So when they tell me don't blame the opposition have an obligation to protect the citizenry, especially from a heavy-handed government, especially when they are going outside or contrary to the law of the land. This is just a simple fact. People, this has been seen from the Ministry of Education, from a senior minister, the Deputy Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and the police. It shows that this problem is widespread all across the ministries of the government. There are people in position who do not understand their role because there was not a proper transition of power where they get to learn the ins and outs of the ministries, what to and what not to do. It is highly important that you have a proper transition where people learn how to do the job from the people who they are coming after. Do you understand? So that is why Colin John allowed his police to go out there and violate the rights of regular citizens by taking away their vehicles on the instruction of the Deputy Prime Minister. This should never be made to happen. It should never be made to happen. Another thing, when you are the chief of any department, you have to be careful about the way you conduct yourself. Right? Colin John take a young lady to court on a traffic offense. First thing, he is operating below his pay grade. He is operating in the capacity of a constable, but he's being paid as the chief of police. The chief of police are not supposed to be concerned with minor traffic violations. They're not supposed to concern themselves. That is below their pay grade. And if you are going to complain a person for a traffic violation as commissioner of police and you go into court, you are wasting the nation's time. You are wasting monies because you are not paid to go to court as a regular constable. You are paid to be in your office and to administer the affairs of the entire organization, to come up with plans and policies and programs to ensure that the organization runs smooth. So when you want to come down from commissioner, every time that case was put off and you go to court and the case wasn't called, you cause St. Vincent and the Grenadines thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars. And that is just the reality of the fact. Because the value of the commissioner to St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the job that he has is not reflected in his salary, but it is reflected in his importance to the country. So even if he is being paid $100 an hour, a salary, his value to the country is worth $5,000 an hour. So each hour he spent going to court, he had deprived St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the citizen of $5,000 worth of service. And when you go to court with a female on a traffic violation and had that female walk out of court triumphantly, what is that going to do to the morale of the service? What is that going to do to the morale of the men? He is giving the public a one-up, because since this woman could go into court one-on-one with the commissioner of police and the prosecutor and beat the system, defeat the highest ranking law enforcement officer, he is deteriorating the morale of the service, and he's giving the public the impression that they can do the same, and they will go all out to ensure that when they are being persecuted, they win the case like this lady. That is what happens when you operate outside or below your pay grade. They don't understand the principles in operating as the chief of a department. Your job description must be clear to you, and you have to be disciplined to stick to your job description. But they don't do that. They don't do that. Another thing, this is Ralph Gonsalves, Vincent, you know, it is Ralph Gonsalves who, when he got into office, put square pegs in wrong hole without giving those square pegs an opportunity to be groomed by the peg that was in the hole before it. What did he do? What did Ralph Gonsalves do? He moved everyone that was in their official capacity in the ministries away from that which they were good at, that which they were practicing in a long time. And they put people in there who don't know their asses from their elbows. Not only they don't know their asses from their elbows, they became white elephants in pink room. They stand out like a sore thumb. Everyone know they are unable to do the job. The people they supervise knew. The people that use their service knew. And the entire public know that they couldn't do their jobs. You understand? So when you have a person who is in charge of a ministry, who is the chief of a department, they ought to know the job, because their responsibility is to groom their replacement. Under Ralph Gonsalves' administration, no replacement was ever groomed to take up the seat of their predecessor. People just put here and put there, do the job, do the job. That is why our country have been losing money for 20 years. Square pegs in wrong hole. Square pegs in wrong hole. Another thing I want to bring up here. Ralph Gonsalves is the Minister of National Security. He has not even an idea. For 20 years, he is running St. Vincent and Grenadines as Prime Minister. For about 17 years out of the 20 years, he is Minister of National Security. He have no idea of the responsibility of national security. Listen to how foolish he is. Listen to how foolish this Prime Minister is. He is going through a protest. He is walking through a protest. And who he have in the protest? Conducting traffic, the Commissioner of Police. Conducting traffic, a sheriff force. This is so foolish. Now this is what happened. Someone threw a missile, hit the Prime Minister in his head, injure him in the presence of the Commissioner of Police. Who are they going to call next? Who are they going to call next? The chief law enforcement officer was present when he was injured. Who are he going to call next? What is the next level of force he is going to bring in to look into the matter, to coordinate activities? If the commissioner could not prevent him from getting injured in his presence, who is he going to call next? Let me tell you something, people. When you have a position, you never ever have your chief military or chief police personnel doing menial jobs to show force, to show to prevent a show force. You don't have a superintendent. You don't have an assistant superintendent. You have an inspector, the highest rank you want, on the street with you. Because if anything go wrong, like what went wrong with Ralph Gonsalves, then an ASP will come in. And as the public see the ASP come in, they know that things are serious. and then a superintendent come in, then they know that things are serious. And then the assistant commissioner come in, then they know things are serious. By this time, the people who are present, and have witnessed something, may be compelled to say something, because now there is an elevation of ranks. The seriousness of the matter is escalated. This is no more a joke. This is seriousness. And then the deputy commissioner come in. The commissioner would not even have to show his face there, because by the time the deputy commissioner is on the scene, witness began to talk. Information is now flowing, because the member of the community who witnessed the events, after they see the escalation of the ranks, are coming to the scene. They realize that this is serious business, and let me clear myself, and let who do the criminal act pay the price for their actions. But when you have the commissioner of police on the streets clearing traffic for you to drive through or for you to walk through, and you get injured, there is no escalation of authority. Everyone will laugh at you and the commissioner, because the man who was supposed to be able to keep you safe was there when you were injured, was there when you were beaten, was there when you were killed, and he couldn't protect you. Foolish set of people they are. They are a foolish set of people. Ralph Gonsalves is an idiot. He don't know what he's doing. 21 years as Prime Minister, 17 years of Minister of National Security, and he still don't understand the job. He still do not understand the job, because he's an idiot. All he have is a big talk, and when he speak, he don't even follow the rules of the English language. He pronounces words as such to sound important, but he trample upon the English language like a herd of buffalo in a stampede. You understand? He is a foolish guy. The problems that we are facing and experiencing in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is as a result of the idiots we have in office. It is also as a result of the lame duck opposition who fail to hold them accountable. In the same manner, they sit back and they allow regular citizens' rights to be violated by the police. They have the information, and if they don't have the information, they must submit their law degree. They must go to the back of the line and get out the House of Parliament, because the people are paying you, because you ought to know how to protect and defend their rights when their rights is being violated. That's all I want to talk about today, people. My name is Chief Strongblood, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son, the diaspora machismo.